Hi, everybody. This is
Hey
Annette
guys.
and Joe and Mark and Elizabeth with Veteran Lifestyle Magazine. And so I'm beyond excited right now. First, I want to thank Eric Mitchell if you're watching out there. Thank you so much for the connection because this is beyond what we had hoped for. And so I really appreciate it. So let's get to it. Let's just dig in. People are waiting. They've been waiting on here. So
Absolutely.
Joe.
No, I
So
was gonna say I'm also kind of in a little bit of a excitement because football has always kind of been a thing for me. Um, I was sharing earlier with one of our other guys how football was it's always been like this great sport for me. It's did some really cool stuff. So it actually helped me kind of move out of my area. Now I didn't exceed and go forward, but I really did learn a lot of lessons from this. So I'm looking forward to this. Thank you for joining us, Mark and Elizabeth.
Man,
thank
thanks for
you so
having me.
much.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have so many just questions to ask, but I love that Joe and I are just really authentic. We just get into it and we just talk about all the things. So I know a lot of people have spoken to you about your football career, where you started, where you ended, but I want to know throughout that journey, what were your thoughts going through your head? Because I know Joe, we all were just on here before we went live, and Joe had spoken about what was it? God shots?
Got shots.
God shots.
Really cool. Yep.
What were your thoughts as you were when you graduated high school and then college and started playing football? What were your thoughts going through all of that?
It's interesting because I mean, the story is really cool because it's a total got shot. Like in high school, I played football, but I was a quarterback. I was on junior varsity all the way up until my junior year in high school. I was an undersized guy. I was a basketball. I love basketball. That was my thing. And I played AAU, but I wasn't getting the big. I wasn't really getting recruited for basketball. So I had my high school basketball coach tell me that I should, stop playing basketball because I was too flashy for him, and I should stick to football. And so, I sadly did. And my junior year, I was the back. I was a third string quarterback. The end of my junior year, we had an injury to the starter, injury to the backup, and then I had to play. And then the game that I played in, we played Duncanville or DeSoto towards the end of the year. We needed to win to go to the playoffs. And so throughout the halls of the high school, there was like, in Mark Clayton we trust. They're trying to gas me up and hype me up for the game. Man, we lost 30-0. I think we passed the 50 once. And after that, coach was like, yo, I think we're going to move you to receiver. For me, it's no big deal because football's, I'm just out here to have fun, with my guys. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I played one game, had one catch, I remember. And then get into the spring and we got 7-on-7 and it just clicked. And I got a letter from Texas A&M. And then from there, everything changed. But leading up to that point, I had no idea what I was going to do after college. The thing that swirled around was going to the Air Force because a lot of my family, my uncles, my granddad, they were all in the service, but nobody had went to the Air Force. And I wanted to be an engineer, and then I wanted to learn how to fly. And so I thought Air Force would be a good route. And then I started getting recruited, and that completely shifted direction. So my thoughts were nothing in regards to going to college or playing college football or let alone playing in the NFL at all. If anything, it was I wanted to play in NBA or something like that, and that got crushed early.
Mark, I had a question. When you initially, like you said, you same with me. I just loved the sport. It was just fun to play, and it was just a good time. And I always thought it was the camaraderie, right? The guys to my left and right that really made it the best. But when you made that switch from quarterback and then you were doing that 7-on-7 drill, is this when that methodical thinking started with you? Because I know you mentioned that you kind of have like this methodical way of processing. And is that where it started, or did you have some even earlier signs of like kind of figuring out this is what I want to do and these are the steps?
Yeah, early. So my schooling, I was one of the kids who I didn't have to apply much, and I could pick stuff up pretty quick. Being a quarterback was that too. Like I knew our offense. I knew what coach was giving us. I could retain it and spit it back out, and I just got it first time. Then not having to repeat. So when it came to any kind of instruction or correction or hey, don't do this, do that, I can make that adjustment like right then and there, and we don't have to deal with it again. So going in at 7-on-7 was I was pretty quick, and so basketball helped football. Like me being really good at basketball, just knowing how to cross over, and I was like an Allen Iverson. So everything I did was trying to cross somebody over or whatnot, and that made football very easy because a lot of running routes is essentially doing a crossover in the beginning, and then at the top of the route to make the defender think you're going one way, no, you're going the other way, and so that made running routes very easy, and that my mind I was able to retain everything that coach would give us. Like, hey, we'll pick a new play, or he'll bring in and just craft a new play. Like, hey, all right, on this play, I want you to do this and then do that. Then I could execute it, and it just accelerated my progression as a receiver. And then college started to see me, because they were coming to look at my buddy, who was a top 5 player in Texas. As they started to see me, I just kept getting better and better and better with what coach was giving me, and so I got into the summer, and my high school coach was really good at knowing his guys. He knew that I wanted to be an engineer, and so all the offers that I got after we left Texas A&M, it was like the state tournament, were like Purdue, Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Air Force came in, but it was all the schools that were engineering schools, which was really cool. And then Oklahoma came in, and that changed things. But that thought process, I've always, I had it early, and it helped me progress as an athlete.
So you got a letter from Air Force Academy?
I got a letter from Air Force.
Oh man, that had because I heard you earlier in the show, you were talking about you thinking about Air Force. That had to have been a tough decision too, though. Anyway.
It wasn't, because Mike Leach was at Oklahoma, and they threw the ball 90% of the time. And made it very to say, yeah, I think I'm gonna go to Oklahoma. But fast forward, the cool part was my first touchdown I scored in college was at the University of Air Force. Got shot.
Right on.
That's cool.
It was crazy. At Air Force, yep.
I have a silly question really quick because I'm not familiar. I think I have an idea, but I'm not sure. What did he mean when he said you were too flashy for basketball?
So my coach was at that time, he was one of the guys who he wanted to run the offense through. So he wanted to come down, pass, cut, flash, look. So he wanted us to pass the ball at least 5 times before a shot went up. So he wanted motion happening. The way I played was I would come down, and if nobody's in the middle and this guy's in front of me and I can get by him and just go get a layup, let me go get a layup. And often, like if I came down and we were in a set and I saw a lane, I would make a move and then go do something and make a play. And he didn't like that. Like, although we made a bucket or something happened, that's not my offense. That's not what we do here. That's not what we run here. And some coaches are like that. They want to run what they want to run, and there's no flex. There's, even if you have an elite player in some capacity, I'm not even saying that I'm that elite, but there's guys that are really good that can score the basket, and some coaches kind of stifle them and they want them to fit into a system. And so for me, that didn't work. And, it all obviously worked out another way.
That's a great point, Mark, because that's actually relevant in a lot of our relationships, right? Whether it's athletic coaches or say we're in a business situation like bosses or peers or subordinates, right? It's a style of leadership. And Sometimes they want it their way, and there's no flexibility. So
Yeah.
but kudos to you though for sticking through it and just going, well, I'm just going to play the way I play. So I'd have done the same thing. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Didn't have a choice, so like I had to get out there.
What made you decide to be an entrepreneur when you were done with your career? Have you always had some kind of passion, thinking that, well, when the time comes, this is what I want to do, or did it just come at the last minute?
No, I was like I fell in love with football. So getting into college and growing in the game, and then having a coach, Steve Spurrier Jr. my freshman year, who was awesome. He made football fun. And then Daryl Wyatt came in, and he made football very technical for me, which I was able to consume. And then that led to having a really good junior year where I was an All-American, and we made it to the national championship. Senior year where I was an All-American, and we made it to the national championship. Lost both of them sadly, but just I grew tremendously. And then getting to the NFL was, at that point it was all ball. And I tell people, like, I love the way kids are today because they see they're playing their sport, but they also see life outside of it. I was a football Neanderthal. Like, I didn't see nothing else. Only thing I saw was ball, like practice, home, rest, back to ball. It was ball all day, ball all night. And so I didn't have that thought process in terms of doing stuff outside of football in the NFL. And then I had one of my, best friends, Jeremy Butler, asked me, "Hey, if you had a business outside of football, what would it be?" And I was like, t-shirts. And at that time, it was like everybody, like when you're in the league, when you travel, you got to wear a suit. I didn't like wearing suits. I always wore a t-shirt. Like I even got fined sometimes, a couple times, because I just wore a t-shirt. But I was like, man, I'm a t-shirt guy anyway. And so I was like, I'll do a t-shirt company. And he was like, man, that's cool. And that was just the beginning of kind of somebody addressing me that took my mind towards something that wasn't football. And this was probably my fourth, fifth year in the league at this point. But no, I didn't have the entrepreneurial mentality, while I was playing at all.
I've always had a question about, because you're talking, this is the time where you were actually in the NFL playing with other professional players. And you, like you said, when you were saying that, I just felt this similarity of military veterans. A lot, it becomes, that's it. This is our life. My life is Marine Corps. And for you, like, your life is football. And it's the men to my left and my right. I got to do my part so that they can survive. Like, I mean, so that they can, so we can succeed, right? Accomplish the mission.
Survive.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that one of the harder parts to transition away from, kind of that community of like-mindedness?
Dude,
We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah, and a lot of the similarities of, and a part of where we connect at a certain level is in that regard too. Like, she's been in it and leaving and readjusting to life, like finding yourself.
Losing your entire existence, like what you were and how you existed in this world.
Yeah.
And then now you don't have that part of yourself anymore, or the camaraderie, the friends, the people that were your brothers and sisters, and they're your friends, and they're your coworkers, and you party with them. And like, it's all together. And then it just, the schedule, having a routine, having
like,
any of that.
What the fuck do I do? Like, I don't, like, what do I do? Like, I don't, dude, it's
definitely the hard part for him too. We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
So, when did you guys meet?
2019.
And how did you meet?
Well,
at that time, and so somebody I was having headaches, and I was told that Botox relieves headaches because it relaxes muscles. And so I found one of the best spots that had the great reviews on Google, Sona and Grapevine. And so I, went over there to Get some Botox.
I ran the place. I had been, after I got out of the military, I went to school for medical aesthetics and ended up kind of working my way up. And I was a director at this medical spa over in Grapevine, and he had come in and I did like his consultation and stuff. And we just talked and talked and talked. And we weren't together. We didn't start dating until about a year later. But I mean, even our whole dating, we just were best friends. Like, and then we got married 2 years ago. But yeah, it was Botox that did it.
That did it. Yes.
Good old Botox. I love it.
Which is funny because it's not even anything that I do anymore. Like, I don't work in that industry or anything. I got out very shortly after I met him.
Did you really? So you served 10 years, and what prompted you to want to join the Navy? Like, why the Navy and not any other branch?
So that I would contribute to a couple of friends of mine who I grew up with, who right after high school, they were actually boyfriend and girlfriend, and they joined the Navy together. And I saw them like living in Hawaii and like, like the best of everything, of course. And life was not good to me, and so my grandmother persuaded me. I remember she called me one day and said, I have the solution to all your problems. And I was like, cool. Okay. And she was like, you should join the military. And I was like, no, but like, really, what's the solution? And she was like, no, I'm serious, Elizabeth. Like, I think that you need to go and just talk to a recruiter and, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And I promised her that I would. I went the next day and talked to a Navy recruiter because I knew people from the Navy. I'm not going to the Marines. Which is funny because all I did in the military was work with Marines, but that was scary to me at the time. And then I knew people from the Navy, Air Force. I was like, that's kind of, like, I don't know. But now that looking back, I'm like, Air Force is the only place I would send my daughters. But anyway, yeah. So I went and I talked to them the next day, and they were like, told me all the things I wanted to hear. And I signed the papers that very day. And I told them when I went to look for like my, when I went to go choose my job at MEPS and everything, I told them I will do whatever job. So I made a pretty good score. I had a pretty wide variety of, jobs that I could choose from. And I just said, is anything, whatever I can do to leave the soonest. And I don't want to go on a ship, but I want to be a diver. That's what I told them. And so they gave me a couple options, and they said that I needed to go and be a CB. And I was like, okay. I had no idea what that was. You see his face. Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. So I'll leave in 6 weeks and I won't ever go on a ship. And they were like, yeah. And then you can become a sort of a diver through the CBs. And I was like, okay. Anyway, I found out in boot camp what I was going to go do. And I was like, what have I done with my life? And I ended up loving every bit of it and being really, really good at my job. But yeah, that's how it all happened.
Did you foresee yourself? Did you have a plan? Because I know for me, I was like, I want to try out 3 years. That's it. I'm good. And then I ended up for 17 years. I don't know how that happened. How long do you think you were going to serve?
Well, so I did 6 years active duty because they say 4 years and then here's your bonus for another 2 years, which was, looking back now, I'm like, all that was not worth 2 more years of my time. But I'm 1000% glad that I did it. But I did the 6 years with the bonus and, got that. And then I ended up getting out. My end of obligated service was 2014. And I found out literally the day of my end of obligated service that I was pregnant with my son. And I was like, well, what am I going to do now? Like all of my benefits have just ended. So I ended up going back into the reserves to make sure that, I could provide all of those things for my son. I was a single mom. So that really helped me out. And so I did another 4 years of reserves, which I never deployed and never really did anything. It was such a completely different world than active duty. It was almost a joke to someone who had been, I deployed for 6 years straight. I mean,
wow,
from 6 months to a year at a time. And so I was like, this is the military, like, cool. I'm going every other week or going once a month. And I don't even think I wore my cover or anything. Like, it was crazy. But yeah. So then after 4 years, I completely called it quits because I was a mom of 2 now and just didn't make sense just to leave them at all. And so, yeah.
Well, no, thank you for your service, because that is, I mean, 10 years to a person off the street is a long time. And so serving at all and then having children is a whole different world as well. So you did your time, and that's
Luckily,
awesome.
it was an amazing experience, and I did a lot of things. I look back now, I'm like, that was me. Like, I did that. Like,
Right?
it's kind of crazy. You know? Like, me? I did that. Like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, the only Navy unit that I actually I think is actually even cooler than the Navy SEAL are the Seabees. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely the coolest group of guys, do absolutely some amazing stuff in amazing places.
Yeah.
Seabees actually built us a shower
Oh, yeah.
in Iraq. Like,
Oh,
and it was still during, like, we just had enough time to set up like a forward operating base.
Right.
And I don't know. I used to like to do what I used to like to do in the military was like try to find other units, not necessarily Marine units, but go and kind of like, who can I make a relationship with that will benefit my unit eventually? And I always knew it's Seabees or some type of engineers you have to find.
Right. Yeah.
So absolutely.
In the middle of Afghanistan and you need a TV, we're going to find it. We're going to get it for you and install it.
No, and another thing, I actually had the really cool privilege of going, and I don't know if you ever had the opportunity, or they even told you about, there is a duty station in Palau for Seabees.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they only have 15 Seabees there.
Okay.
But they literally help with a lot of this island's infrastructure. Mm-hmm. The only reason I got there was we did a battle tour in Peleliu.
Okay.
And then we went to the main island and we met these Seabees, and I'm like, who are you guys?
That's so cool.
And ever since then I started to like study up. So absolutely cool.
I actually spent about 7 months in Tonga with my CB detachment that we had. We went to Tonga and built like disaster relief center for the islands that were there.
And it's cool. Like that is like Seabees can do some really cool, like, I don't know, I guess we just call it PR for the United States.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, we do a lot of peaceful deployments and do a lot of, they do call it PR, the peaceful relations, peaceful relations, public relations, but for the military, we do a lot of those where we go over and we just do good things for people and build, pave roads and build like disaster relief, build schools in Afghanistan. We did a lot of those, even in hazardous areas. We're doing peaceful treaty, type of things.
Well, I always say explain to them is that they're like, they're like engineers and construction workers that work while they're being shot at.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, exactly. I always say that too, where I'll just be like, I did all that, but with a bulletproof vest on. Yeah.
Well, I have one. Annette.
Yes.
Okay, during that time, like, so you guys met while you were still in the Navy, but you were already retired from the NFL.
Well, so we met whenever I had just separated completely in 2018. We met in 2019, and he was retired already.
And did you guys?
And I got off active duty like almost the same year. We were both doing. He was in the NFL. I was in the military, pretty much same time frame. Mm-hmm. 2014 is when I separated from active duty the first time, and he was 13, retiring. Yeah.
When did you guys decide to like do the entrepreneurial journey? Is it like, was it right after you got out, or or were you doing it while you were still in the reserve?
So he has always been a little more
tinkering with this for quite a while.
with the headphones and stuff, and I just ended up being the piece to the puzzle that he needed to really go all the way with everything. Because he has been working on it for a while. He took a pretty long hiatus from actually
working at it.
Proactively, this is my schedule today type of thing. He wasn't really working on it. It was just something he did and something he wants to do. And, whenever we got married, it's really been about 2 years now that he's been working on this, actually working on this. It's been about, so I always just like, I'm just the support. He can bounce ideas off me.
The wind beneath the wings.
I discern between
wind beneath the wings.
He does that, the wind beneath his wings. But
I have to share. I think when we have the people closest to us, right? Like the people closest to us that push us forward, and they empower us by holding down the fort, maybe, or by just kind of the little bits of encouragement and kind of sometimes pushing, right? Like get up and do that kind of stuff. And I think those are super important as much as business contacts and networking are. Like and I'm going to speak from a man's point of view, and I think especially from a man's point of view that is really important. I think because we have this innate urge to want to provide and support and give service, to our families, and then to the greater community, in one way, shape, or form. And I wanted to say this to you, Mark. I think somewhere along the line that the whole idea got lost. But I think what you did during the NFL and what a lot of those professional athletes do are actually super important. They're actually really beautiful for our communities and people, because what they do is, for a specific amount of time, tons of absolute strangers gather together and cheer one specific thing and enjoy some time, right? Like some respite from the rest of the world. So thank you for that.
No, dude, I wish worlds could look a lot like our locker room and you guys is,
the world, could look
yeah.
like the camaraderie we have with all the different people
that comes in.
Like we've talked about that. Like you go to the military or even the NFL, like we're all just integrated. There's no black, white. There's no, we are, but we embrace it. It's like, oh, I want to try that Filipino food. Oh, I want to try, we're all introducing our culture to each other and just embracing it and loving it. And if the world could be that way, I mean,
incredible. I 100% believe that there is a false belief and false narrative that's pushed out into the world that says that if we include other cultures and other beliefs, that we have to disband ours.
That's just so
it's a melting pot.
Love our own.
Yeah.
That's right.
Anyway, thank you for sharing that.
Our own to love something else.
No doubt. Yeah. Like if they can dance better than you, so what? Like,
yeah. You can jump higher. It's fine.
No big deal, right? I can calculate math better.
Hold on, let me think of a couple things I can do.
So what? But no, man. It was a beautiful. I mean, obviously, for all of us, kind of being in those dynamics where we were working towards a common goal with people from so many different backgrounds, and to see that is very possible and fun at the same time. It's just it changed. And then you've traveled the world. Liz traveled the world. We've been in different places around the world, but to see how loving and less ego there is in different places that don't have nearly as much as we do.
Oh, that's the problem.
We
got too much.
Spoiled, but it's just beautiful for us to have had that experience, and now live life with each other and know other people that have had that experience, and then share that with our families. Our kids getting to experience that and hear a message of embracing diversity, embracing other cultures or whoever, just embracing that and loving.
That's so beautiful. That's just so beautiful. There's one thing I wanted to just ask you really quick. You both went through huge transitions. You from the military, you from the NFL. I know for me, and I'm not. I don't remember if we've spoken about it, Joe. But once we transitioned out of the military, it was really, really hard for me to function in this world without what I was used to for so long. How did you both communicate that with each other? It's huge. Both of your transitions were so huge and around the same time. So how did you figure that part out?
Gosh, I think that, the basic understanding of each other makes it easy to, we don't really have to, we've talked about it just to be able to have a person to resonate with. But I think that we both are kind of loners. We were both loners, big time loners before we, before we met each other. And then, obviously separating from our, the entity that we were with, made us even more of loners. And, coming together, it was a little bit tough at first, but it was almost like there was like a language that only him and I spoke, that it was like, we just understood, like, okay, that's just how you are. That's how I am. And like, okay, like, I'm going to go to my side, you go to your side. And I mean, that's just, even if we get into an argument, it's just like, that's just how we are. We don't ever come at each other. We just go away for a little while and then come back together, because we just are so trained to just like accept that alone is okay right now. And that's part of, I think, the trauma, I guess, that comes from it, but it's beneficial as well, if you can see the bright side of it. But yeah, transitioning is definitely a hard part, because you just, especially when life doesn't stop moving, and nothing stops except for the people around you are different. The familiarity of things is not there, but you just got to get through it. Life doesn't stop moving. You just keep going.
I think a part of it too is survival. Like,
exactly.
You gotta move. And for me, leaving the NFL and those checks not coming, but life going on and bills still need to be paid, and savings account starting to go down. We got to figure out how to get an income. We got to figure out how to keep food on the table, and we got to figure these things out. And so part of it is that fire that comes from that, making sure that if you don't work, you don't eat. The other part is, for me, it was kind of the creative piece with the headphones. On the back end of my career, the idea came while I had a ruptured patellar tendon, and so I'm in rehab in 2010, and this, the headphones that I'm wearing in the swimming pool while we're doing these training exercises, I'm like, why isn't there an over-ear headphone that just stays on my head? And so that began the journey of, sketching a headband that I thought would be different and would actually work, because when I broke my headphones, they flew forward. So maybe if we made the headband go back, that would give me a little more security. And then, moving into that space, and this keeping my mind busy, and just working at a new thing that I didn't even know that would be this thing. It was just, I wanted to make a headphone that I could work out in at that time. And then through relationships and other people, it just kind of grew into, man, this could be a really cool, product that other people would like. And now it could be a really cool company that solves a problem and provides an experience that nobody's had before.
I wanted to back up really quick and say that I really appreciate you sharing how you guys both came together to work through the transition. There's a lot of families out there who don't know what to do, and they get angry and they say the words that they can't take back because they don't understand the transition process, and they just feel like it's just too hard. And so, but you guys made it work, and alone is okay. And that kind of thing is so needed. We need to say that more. It's okay to walk away and come back rather than say the words that you can't take back. And so I really love it. Love that you shared that part, because we forget it. We often have to do that.
And we don't always do it perfectly. And he does it a little better than me sometimes, because he's just so nonchalant anyway. But and in him being like that has helped me a lot, because I'm very high strung of, like when you said survival. I mean, luckily we were operating out of survival for a very long time before we had to transition and operate out of survival on this end of things. But yeah,
Well, eventually, I mean, I think all our goal is to move from survival to life, and that's
right.
Or should I say, from surviving to living.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And what is crazy, I have noticed, and he can attest to this, part of our transition period, I think I could include the part where it is going from survival to living. And I have never in my life, I mean, since I was a kid, ever been able to not be in survival mode. I have always been that way, from childhood to military to single motherhood. I mean, everything was just survival. And so once him and I got married, I was able to relax everything. And it was almost like I felt more like, am I depressed? I have a wonderful life. Like everything is so much better than it's ever been in my entire life. And I'm depressed right now. I'm upset. I'm kind of like, I'm stressed out. I'm overstimulated all the time. Like it was like, I finally got that time to rest, and my brain could rest, my body could rest, my nervous system. And it was like all the things from my entire existence in survival mode was coming up. And he was just there, like, I don't know what he did, but he was there to help me through it and like recognize, like, babe, you just relax. Like you're just going through. You're really going through now what you've gone through before. It's just now you're processing. It was like I was processing everything from before. Yeah, processing it out.
Detox.
I really relate to that. Like I really do. When you first said it, Mark, survived. Like I so related. And,
yeah.
Because if you continue to see any of our shows later and you hear me speak again, one of the things I say is that I 100% recognize that I am a product of all of the things I've experienced, the stuff I've heard, things I've read. And lately there is this thing, and it really resonates. It's like you're not learning to live with your trauma.
Right.
Or we've already done that.
Yeah.
We already know that.
You're
What we're trying to learn is to live with the peace and calm that we found through healing, right?
Exactly.
That's the hard part.
It is. It really is. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel normal.
Yeah.
It's like you're looking for something to go, like something to fixate on. Oh, I need to find something to fix. I need to find something that's wrong that I can, whatever. It's like your brain is already programmed. Really.
When is the shoe going to drop? Is what
right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Sometimes I get fearful of like
nothing's going wrong today. I think I need to start a fight. Hold on. I think that might be all women, but I think that
these are the conversations I think that people don't have as much as they should, right? Like all of us are relatively, we realize we've reached a place in our life where things are good and we have happiness and we have the people around us. Now we know we want to grow and want to expand, but I think people want to hear that there's resilience. They don't need to. I don't think so much needs to be focused on how crappy it was for me.
Right.
No doubt.
Or else, right? It's that you can move forward.
Yeah. It's
right?
all part of the the future of your existence. Well, I mean, your relationships, everything. It was for a reason.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's part of your testimony. It can be a good thing.
And it's the thought process of where you're transitioning out. So for years, your nervous system has been under this crazy pressure, intensity, and all. Like you're going to have some knee-jerk reactions that reflect that. Like it's going to happen. Like you can't get away from it. But for us, like being able to know if she goes off or I shut down or whatever that is, some of that comes from the past. I'll say a lot of it comes from a lot of what life was like before we got together. Yeah. And so in those spaces, being able to kind of zoom out, and even though I feel how I feel, I get upset or offended or whatever, zooming out to understand like, hey, whatever the dynamic, whatever the situation is, there's some stuff there that is being processed.
Literally has nothing to do with you.
And vice versa. If I'm shutting down because I'm not a confrontational person, I'm just gonna go into my shell and I'll be over here playing. I'll go play my game for hours, like just away, and then
I'll be like, "Can I sit with you while you play your game?"
Yeah. And but to be able to kind of talk, obviously have conversation that we know each other's background, we know the past, we know each other's history, and so we're able to kind of see each other in those not so pretty places as is, and then love on that, because I know it's not all me, it's not about me, and it's not all her, and it's not just about her.
Yeah, it's definitely the experience.
We're just helping each other progress through, as we get to where we get, which we experience a little more peace, today more than yesterday, and tomorrow maybe not, I don't know, but at the end of the day, over time is getting you know, a little bit more peaceful, and it's a sweet thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for that. But I want to get into what Joe and I were talking about way before you guys came on, how excited we were to see these headphones and the way that they're, you were talking about the concept, but, and the fact that it is, the price point is affordable. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Making $500.
I was going to put it up.
Like nothing you've ever seen.
No, how cute! First of all,
that's
the
great.
picture is so cute.
My
But
hair was a different color.
Right.
I love
yeah,
it so
they are.
much.
Very nice.
Yeah, they're pretty badass. So yes.
That's the mannequin.
Oh, how did you feel when you got
They're
the
actually pretty good
prototype?
looking headphones.
Yes.
Sweet.
How did you feel when you got those and you're looking at them and you're thinking, I created this?
The first, well, you know, as an athlete, I think to be a really good athlete and go very far, you have to be almost super, really critical of yourself in every little aspect. So when I got it, I was like, I don't like this, I don't like that.
Oh, he's still to this day.
I gotta change that. No, this
hold
that.
on, I don't know if I like this part of this, and he'll message China real quick.
Hey Ray, hey, no, but it was. I mean, if it was cool to get, but you know, then again, it's like I'm trying to win championships, and so to get the product in that place, I was like, man, this is good for training camp. We got a lot of work to do. And where we're at now, to me, it's 95% there, which somebody's going to experience. We've had people experience it so far that there's like, man, this is amazing. Like it really is amazing because the fit is really cool. And for me, I know the fit allows for a better sound haul. And so people talk about active noise cancellation. Because we have a more secure fit, we actually get a lot of passive noise cancellation, which actually enhances your audio experience and is really neat. Obviously, the design is something that sets it apart. That is where our patents are at, which is, really cool to have patents from a design perspective in the headphone space, which is very difficult because there's so many headphones that have been created, for decades, and to be able to get a industrial patent and a design patent on a headband that looks like nothing that's ever been created was, really monumental for us. And so, now as we get our first 100 units, which will come in January, and start to gift and drip them into the market, I am extremely confident that the experience that everybody will have with them will be extremely positive.
So Joe and I already decided that we will be your models. Because he's in Houston and I'm in Killeen, and so we're all surrounded around each other.
It's triangle, baby.
Hey,
where are you guys, Mark? I'm sorry, I didn't even.
Fort Worth. We're like mid cities, really, like right in the middle.
You're in Fort Worth?
Yeah.
No way.
I know.
There it is.
We could have done this over lunch.
You guys the I don't know. You guys are baseball fans?
Oh yes. Well, my son's baseball. Yeah. So
I don't watch MLB anymore.
We don't watch it. We watch our son play.
And I'm a minor league baseball fan, like you wouldn't believe. Okay. We have the Sugarland Space Cowboys.
Okay.
Absolutely love that organization. Their park is awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'm there all the time.
Man,
you got to come down. We'll have a game.
Really, that's the first. This is the first for me. I've never heard somebody's like, man, I'm a big minor league baseball fan. Like
I haven't either, but I'm awesome. What's below minor league?
We got
Pee-wee.
Pee-wee, yeah.
I'm a Pee-wee fan.
We're Little League baseball.
We're Little League.
Oh, that's awesome too. Yeah, well, I know you do a lot. You two do a lot in the youth sport industry.
We have a lot of kids.
The youth sports in the area, and you still go up quite a bit to visit the campus at OU, don't you?
I do.
Yeah,
Coach Brent Venables, he recruited me out of high school, and so it was really cool to see him get the head coaching job. And then a lot of the guys that are there on staff and just around the university are guys that I play with. So still very connected and excited, especially about what we're about to do next year, coming off of this.
Now, there was a circle thing on there, and I was getting back to the headphones.
Okay.
Now, with that network in your first units, do you still have a good network within your friends in NFL and all those? So you're going to be able to get some people to give you good feedback and really kind of highlight those for you, right?
Most definitely. Yeah, that's my marketing strategy, which a lot of the investors that I have, they, I obviously saw that the ability to kind of get into these doors and not have to pay an entrance fee. And then when it comes to just relationships, I know as an athlete, having been given product and people, say, hey man, can you shout me out or do it? If the product was not good, I'm not shouting you out.
Yeah.
I'm not invested I'm not. And so I know where, the athletes and influencers and other celebrities, where they're going to come from with it. So that's why for me, it was kind of like me as an athlete wanting to make sure that I fine tune myself. Whereas when I showed up at Combine, there was no doubt he's a first round pick, hands down. And so the same thing with the headphones is all about fine tuning and making sure that as soon as they open that case, it's already a first round pick. And then when they put it on, they're like, oh yeah, he ran 4.3, he had a 40-inch vertical, the short cone, like all the other stuff flowed.
And they will. Those headphones are
while wearing the headphones.
Oh.
No, well, it's an analogy.
That's the goal.
While wearing the headphones,
while wearing the headphones.
Well, so
you can have a 40-inch vertical. You can do
you will have a 40-inch vertical wearing these headphones.
But
and the whole point on that, I think what I was getting at was as far as part of I've noticed a transition of your business and you moving into entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. Relationships were a big deal. Like that's the meat and bones, like the people that because like I said, you wanted to be an engineer, correct? When you thought of these headphones, I'm an engineer, but you actually had the wherewithal to find that right friend that is a design guy and say, hey man, that's how I want to design. And I loved that you utilize the tools around you. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs in the business world forget to do that. Like we solopreneur it too much. I want to do this myself and I can do it myself. And I don't need that help.
There's a lot of fear in that for some entrepreneurs is, somebody gonna steal my idea.
Oh, there's that.
I don't want to share. Like I'll just get it, all the way as far as I can, and that's not the. I mean, yes, people do steal ideas, but
that's not
a very minute.
Well, watching him leverage his relationships and his network to create this has been incredible because I am not that type of person. I'm not that social. I mean, I am social, but definitely not like he is. And he's able to just, and it benefits other people too. He doesn't ever just ask for something from someone without, there being some sort of, not necessarily benefit for them in terms of, financially or whatever, but just time spent, be real, friendship and relationship, and our kids will be friends, whatever the case is. Like all of our investors are very close friends of ours now, who our kids hang out, and but yes, him leveraging the people around him due to the resources he's acquired from his professional career has been a very large part of this.
Because my phone is like.
Yes, it is.
No, man, that's.
I'm like, you text us.
There's so many.
That is a testament to the ability to build a relationship, because the hardest investors to get are the people closest to you.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Those are like
Have you never done any network marketing? No, those are
people
the people. Yeah.
Because they're going to be the ones that are going to be. They're going to shoot you straight all the time. They're
most skeptical.
They're going to be like, they're going to be, Joe, you're bullshitting again.
Yeah.
Unless you come with.
What about this? Or what about that? Like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And also, by the way, I was, as before when we were talking, these headphones look really cool. I really love the way they look. The design looks amazing. And I love that they have 5 microphones in one. Yeah. Did you think of that when you started to recognize that the new let's start a band is let's do a podcast? Because I think those headphones are absolutely gorgeous for a set of podcast headphones.
They will.
With the mic already. So
and gaming. And
So, no, they will. And those mics
Sportscasters.
are awesome. The algorithm for them is phenomenal. So there's a couple aspects. So talking, obviously, like taking a phone call, you sound crystal clear. Like you sound so loud on the other end. It's incredible. And then the ambient mode where you can hear your surroundings. The mics do that. So the algorithm allows that mic to pick up sound. So it actually functions kind of like a hearing aid. And it's
you can hear somebody all the way across the room.
It's pretty wild. You can go in the ambient and you can hear quite a bit.
It's like, wow, they sound really loud all the way over there.
Dude, that is a great other point. And look, again, Annette says this is kind of like a conversation, but I really love to share ideas pop in my head. I'm one of those kind of guys. And the only reason I say that again is because we were sharing earlier how my last hearing exam, and you'll relate to this being in the service too, was so bad that they had to do the test where the audiologist plays a recording of common words that people miss when you start to lose hearing.
Wow.
So she said that on average, I was losing, both years combined average, I was losing about 53% of what people say to me.
Wow.
And that the reason, she goes, do you feel like drained at night and a little bit fatigued? And I'm like, yeah. And she explained, well, because our brain is so amazing that it is filling in the gaps of what you're missing based on the context of the conversation and the knowledge of vocabulary you have in your head.
It's insane.
It was just filling that in.
That's
so saying that your headphones can actually almost act as a hearing aid and amplify certain words that you can hear, I think is a brilliant point, because if you don't use correctable hearing when you have correctable hearing, there are signs of dementia later in life. So look, not only are these amazing headphones, they could possibly help your hearing. So
that's really cool.
That'd be something to look into as a headphone provider. I mean, I thought I'd just share.
I'd like
to look at some studies,
some hearing issues in this house. Yeah,
this one is collecting disability.
I definitely collect information when he's talking. It is not what he said.
See there, guys, everybody out there, you learn so much on Veteran Lifestyle Magazine.
Yeah, exactly.
You have great guests, great topics,
right?
Beautiful people. Again, these are
great hosts.
Right. If my podcasting career continues, I'm going to be having some of these.
Look, I already told them mine's on pre-order. And so for everyone if you're listening to this, go to livaudio.com. But if you're watching it, go to the ticker right here to order yours, because I'm telling you, these are going to be a game changer. I can't wait to get these. So thank you guys so much for your time, and for just being here and for everything that you're doing and sharing such personal parts of your life that are going to be so helpful to everyone that's watching and listening. A big thank you to Parade Deck. Are their only magazine for their platform, and so we're very excited to be picked up for that. We have big plans for 2025, and I'm just so excited for all of you to be a part of it. Go ahead and follow if you haven't. If you didn't see where to follow both Elizabeth and Mark, I will put that in the podcast at the end. I will put they're going to share it everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, and TikTok. So find us everywhere so you can find this recording here. So thanks again, you guys, for everything, and I can't wait to see what happens next with your headphones.
Yeah,
you can see all the links to Mark's headphones will also be in any of the chats that I have going. So.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.